Hello and welcome to this Transitioning to Google Workspace webinar. The objective of the session is to review the recent changes Google has made with the introduction of Workspace, and in particular how those affect existing G Suite users. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Sean Power and I'm in the sales team here at Refractive. I've been here nearly 10 years now, so I've seen a few changes in the product, going all the way back to Google Apps for Business, for those that can remember that far back. I have to say that this is perhaps one of the biggest and most exciting changes to the product throughout all that time. So we are very keen to see how it affects you. The event today will last around 30 minutes and we'll have time at the end for questions. So just pop your questions into the chat box on the right-hand side of the screen and we'll answer as many as we can during the session. Any we don't have time to answer today will be answered after the event. We'll make a recording available afterwards so you can review the information and share with your colleagues as well if you wish. So here is the agenda for today. We'll spend a bit of time looking at the reasons behind the change, as well as pointing out some of the features which have been released recently or will be in the near future, which you may not have seen. Then we'll talk about the transition process from where you are now with G Suite to where you will be with Workspace. And finally, we'll discuss the timescales for these changes. So first, let's take a look at the reasons behind the change from a strategic perspective and how Google have addressed the changes to working practices brought about by COVID-19. The COVID lockdown regimes changed the way people work, learn, and teach, and technology played a large role in making this happen. Imagine how we would have coped without the remote working technology that we have today. And the changes are still ongoing. A recent survey by Insight suggests up to 48% of knowledge workers will continue to work remotely even after the COVID crisis is over. And some teams will operate without ever meeting in person. And so the phrase, work is something you do, not somewhere you go, has never been more relevant. Google have recognized that this change in working practices requires a radical change in the G Suite product range. It has accelerated the move from siloed apps to true app integration that help workers make the most of their time, regardless of where they are working from. And with 2.6 billion monthly active users, Google has the scale to make the rapid changes needed to support these new ways of working with their technology. The speed of innovation this year, especially in the meat product, has been truly astounding. The changes can be grouped into three main categories. The first is user experience. It's a new, deeply integrated service across the G Suite range. And brand identity is changing as well. There's a new product name and new icons for the G Suite services. And finally, we've also got changes to the product plans, which will mean a transition for existing G Suite users. The three core themes associated with Workspace are simple, flexible, and helpful. The aim is to increase employee efficiency by providing the tools they need where and when they need them. Being simple means that the tools are intuitive and both seasoned and new users can use them out of the box. The tools are available from anywhere with an internet connection, and this has been a founding principle since day one of the products over a decade ago. And extending the functionality is also a reality with the extensive range of integrations and APIs available. Being helpful means that the tools bring real advantages to users, providing functions which users can take advantage of whenever they need them. And some of the recent advances in AI within the G Suite range is evidence of this, such as Smart Compose, voice input, Smart Reply, Smart Suggestions, noise reduction, etc. These are all examples of how the tools help the user get things done. The change to working practices ushered in by the increased level of remote working is nothing new, but the unprecedented number of workers spending more time away from the office has shifted working practices, probably for the foreseeable future. We have all had to get used to not being physically in an office with our colleagues. And the move to Google Workspace helps with remote collaboration by ensuring that everyone has access to the information they need and that team members feel valued and that they have a positive impact on the organization. The first thing you may notice is a change of branding. This isn't just a change in name to Workspace. It means new icons for all the Workspace services. Your users will start to see these filter through over the next few days and weeks, and indeed, some of them have already changed, particularly on mobile devices. The key change is a new home for work with a single page providing access to mail, chat, voice, and video calling. Better integration between services is also a major factor. And this short video, which I'll show you now, shows you some of the things which are coming.
Okay, let's get started.
Can we make that orange?
Great, there we go.
Okay, what do you think, Steve? Steve?
Okay, so we've seen the consolidation of services in Gmail with access to chat, chat rooms, and Meet available in a single unified experience. Some of the most interesting changes are connected with the integration of services, such as the ability to grant access to documents in chat, previewing files without opening them, displaying contact details when mentioning someone in a document, etc. And one of my personal favorites is the meeting picture, which we saw in the video, where meet calls can be initiated from within documents. And this is great when you're discussing the document with colleagues or with a client. Before, you could only view the document and talk in the background. Now you can see the other people in the video and talk whilst viewing the document together. This gives you the ability to pick up on non-verbal clues during the conversation and greatly improves the quality of collaboration. It's also a really good example of how the apps are being integrated better with the Workspace. So in this section of the event, we'll look at the new Workspace products and your options for transitioning from G Suite. There is quite a lot of detail to get through, and we won't be able to assess every individual situation in this event. If your circumstances don't fit any of the situations we show you here, we can arrange individual calls to discuss them further. And we are working with Google on one or two circumstances where we can, which are non-standard, which we can work through. The lines have always been blurred between small, medium businesses and enterprise users, and which version of G Suite they should use. Google is attempting to clarify this with the product plans available in Workspace. So SMB users are typically those with up to 300 users. Beyond that, Google considers you to be an enterprise customer, and you're encouraged, but importantly not forced, to use an enterprise plan. So first of all, we'll take a look at the new SMB products. Business Starter is the old G Suite basic product and stays pretty much the same. Some additional Meet features are added, such as background blur, but many of the more advanced Meet and collaboration features are not available in this product. Business Standard is the closest match to G Suite Business with two major exceptions. Unlimited storage has been replaced with a 2 terabyte storage limit per user, which is pooled across the domain. This does make more sense. 99% of users don't reach this level, and pooling it across users increases convenience. The other major change is the removal of Vault at this level. This is only available at Business Plus and above. Vault automatically archives any inbound and outbound emails, as well as all documents created by any user. And notably, it's no longer available as an add-on product for either Business Starter or Standard. The ability to record meets is available with Business Standard. Some of you may have noticed that the premium Meet features such as recording and live streaming are no longer available to all users. Google offered these free of charge at the start of the coronavirus crisis, but this free period has now ended. Shared drives, which used to be team drives, is also introduced at this level. The Business Plus version offers enhanced security features such as Vault, basic data loss prevention, which prevents personal and sensitive data such as credit card and national insurance numbers from leaking from the organization. Endpoint security, along with more Meet features, are also included in Business Plus. Things are a little bit less congested in the enterprise space. The Enterprise Essentials product is aimed at organizations who wish to provide the advanced document, chat, and video conferencing features of Workspace without replacing their current email and calendar services. The Enterprise Standard version offers an increased level of security features, such as advanced data loss prevention, Cloud Identity Premium, which is an alternative to Microsoft Active Directory, and improved user and domain management features. It also increases the number of meets, number of users in Meets up to 250, and introduces live streaming. Storage isn't unlimited, but starts at 5 terabytes pooled across all users, and additional space can be requested free of charge if needed. This is a bit of a change from Google, but usually 5 terabytes per person should be more than enough. For instance, if you have 300 users, then you will have a total of 1.5 petabytes capacity. Enterprise Plus builds on the security features of Standard, adding in the Security Center to manage any incidents more effectively. And also available is the Pro version of Appsheet. And if you haven't seen Appsheet, it's well worth having a look at. It builds mobiles and desktop apps from spreadsheets in a low-code environment, so anyone can build apps. This is effectively the replacement for App Maker, which Google ceased about 12 months ago. Connected Sheets is available with this version too. This allows users to access BigQuery in Google Sheets to perform very large data queries. And finally, the ability to archive email data to third-party tools such as Barracuda or Mimecast comes with the Enterprise product. These are the recommended transition options for your existing G Suite product, and we'll explore each route in detail to help you decide which Workspace product is right for your organization. And as I mentioned before, we are verifying with Google some of the specific and individual client situations, so these recommendations may not be exactly suitable for you. If you are currently on G Suite Basic, you perhaps have the easiest transition. Workspace Business Starter has essentially the same functions as Basic, so it's a natural choice. It doesn't include some of the advanced Meet features, such as recording, polls, Q&A, etc., or the more advanced collaboration features like Share by Pin and Share Drives. So Business Standard is definitely worth considering. Business Plus steps up the security of data held in Workspace through Vault archiving and data loss prevention. And finally, if you have a strong need to stream your Meet events, then Enterprise Standard should be considered. This also includes Cloud Identity Premium, which includes automated user provisioning, app whitelisting, and automated mobile device management. For those of you who are currently using G Suite Business, there are some options available. The natural choice is Workspace Business Standard, but there are the two differences highlighted earlier. It doesn't have Vault and it's not unlimited storage anymore. More meet and collaboration features are added though, which balances the features out. If you do need archiving and e-discovery and the features of Vault, then Business Plus is the best choice for you. And as before, if Meet live streaming or Cloud Identity Premium are needed, then Enterprise Standard may be an option. Okay, and finally, if you are using G Suite Enterprise at the moment, or if you use G Suite Business and need to improve your security stance, then one of the Workspace Enterprise products should be your choice. Enterprise Standard offers improved security features over the business versions and include archiving, advanced data loss prevention, and improved domain security management. It also includes advanced Meet features and virtually unlimited storage space. Enterprise Plus adds to this third-party email archiving and access to Appsheet Pro and Security Center for incident management. Okay, so when will these changes take place? Well, the answer to that depends on what type of contract you are on with Google. If you are on an annual plan, then you will transition at the end of your current term. And multi-year contracts will be honored, and you will transition at the end of your final year. And again, you can also choose to transition to a Workspace plan straight away if you wish. Oh, there are one or two exceptions to this for particular circumstances. If your contract is a monthly one, then you'll transition in January 2021. And again, you can move across early if you wish to take advantage of the new features. There aren't any special commercial incentives for you to make the move to Workspace at this time. However, if you would consider a multi-year contract, then there are incentives available. And these do depend on the length of the term and the products you are moving to. So it's worth having a discussion with your Refractive account manager if this is an option for you. Okay, so here are some additional notes about the upcoming changes. Workspace is not currently available for education and non-profit organizations. It is expected to be made available in the coming months for these users. Google Voice can be added to all Workspace products, and this is a cloud-based telephony service, which again has deep integration with Workspace. We are seeking confirmation regarding G Suite Lite or deskless licenses, and again, we'll notify those affected when we have something concrete. There are one or two particular circumstances which we are working through with Google. And we currently understand that partial domain licensing remains the same as the current terms. And this allows organizations with large numbers of users to have different products for different groups of users. But again, we're confirming the details with Google. Okay, so hopefully that has added to your understanding of why Google has made this change and how it affects you going forward. As I mentioned previously, there may be some individual circumstances which will require further investigation, which we are happy to discuss with you and your Google account manager. Okay, so that's all the presentation. We've got some questions which I'd like to work through now. If that's okay, if you do have any more, just bob them into the box. A question from Teresa. Hey, Teresa. I'd be interested to know how different the free option, i.e. personal drive, etc., and Google Workspace will be. I think we're still working through the details. This is a free Gmail civilian account that you can have. We are still working through the details of that. Our understanding is that certainly none of the Meet features will be on the free version. Things like the shared space, the advanced collaboration features won't be available. So it will be very different to the business standard, the lower version, the equivalent to basic at the moment. But again, we don't have any details of that, Teresa, so we'll work through that. Another question from Teresa, how easy it might be to get people outside our organization to use Google tools, such as Meet, shared folders, etc. Yeah, easy, and getting easier actually. So Meet is really seamless for non-Google users. You send an invite either as a link or in a calendar event, and anybody can access that if you provide them access to the Meet. And again, for document collaboration, sharing folders, etc. Again, that's becoming easier for non-Google users. Some of the versions that we mentioned earlier, I think at business standard, it allows users to share by PIN. So essentially, you can share a document. They don't have to be a Google user. You can provide a PIN access into that document, very much like a password. So again, Google are doing a lot of work in that space to make it much easier. Again, if there's any specific questions on that, Teresa, we'll cover that. Question from Talal. We are currently on the business account. What will be the similar account offered in Workspace? The real question is, Talal, if you need Vault or not. So if you don't need Vault, then Business Standard is the one for you. It's the same rate. You get more Meet functions and some more collaboration features. If you do need Vault, which is the archiving and e-discovery tool, then the next version up is the one for you, Business Plus. Business Standard Plus. I will get my head around the new terms, which includes all the features of Business Standard, but also includes Vault. So again, question is, do you need Vault? Do you not need Vault? So you can decide from there. Question from Chris, will there be implications for not-for-profit orgs using G Suite? Chris, at the moment, there are no changes. So your plans, if you're on not-for-profit, don't change at all. We imagine in the coming months, you will be transitioned over to a Workspace plan. Our understanding at the moment is going to be a similar level to where you are at the moment. So if you're on not-profit for Google, it's basically the business starter plan, which is very similar to G Suite Basic as it is now. We believe it's going to be exactly the same. They're also sorting out the commercial terms if you do want to upgrade to one of the higher levels, either Business Standard Plus, or one of the enterprise plans. But again, we don't know at this stage what those details are. As soon as we do know, as soon as they're released, we'll notify you. Yeah, interesting question, Kevin. We've questioned, sorry, Kevin's question is, why do they say shared team drive roadmap? Shared drives already exist, so why does it mean there's something additional coming? Yeah, we've questioned this. The two pages that I showed you earlier, which are they should be easier than this here, where it says shared team drive. We've questioned this and we haven't had an answer back. So we're still working on that, Kevin. As soon as I get something back, I'll let you know, because we're intrigued by that. It seems to be, we know it's available now, so it seems to be that something is happening. They have released the ability to share individual folders within shared drive, and that's available now. So it's not that, so it may be something else. Again, as soon as we know, we'll let you know. Question from Jill. G Drive isn't mentioned here. Is it unchanged in functionality? Yeah, exactly the same. So Drive is a component part of all the plans, Jill. So what you've got at the moment within Drive, you'll inherit that when you move over to Workspace. Depending on which version you use, you may have shared drives, which used to be team drives, or you may not. But essentially, it's the same functions going forward. Talal, we already have Appsheet Premium account, and we'll lose. Would we lose this once transition happens? Talal, I'm not sure whether you pay separately for that, because Appsheet, I believe, hasn't been included in your G Suite plan so far. I think you're on business. I may need to verify that with you and come back to you, Talal. So I'll take that offline and come back to you. Be interested to know what you're using it for, and if you use it. We think it's great, but some real world examples would be good. Question from Stella. We have G Suite Basic with Backupify. Is it more cost effective to go to the business standard and include Vault? Yeah, it's Business Standard Plus, which has Vault included in that. Vault and Backup do two different functions, Stella. So backup is a method of restoring accounts in case of data loss, either through malicious intent, i.e. someone deliberately deletes data, or through accidental loss. I delete a folder, not realizing that I'm deleting it for everybody, or I introduce a third-party product which deletes that data by accident. A backup tool allows you to restore that data and bring that back into the live account. That's not possible to do with Vault. What Vault does, it stores all your data and allows you to create matters where subjects are created and all information related to that subject are stored and retained and is admissible in court. So it's usually used in HR cases such as unfair dismissal, case of bullying, etc., within the workplace, where you need to gather evidence, and that evidence needs to be admissible in court, and Vault allows you to do that. So two different functions. Often organizations have both Vault for archiving and a backup service, and Backupify is a perfectly good backup service. So hopefully that matters. Answers that question. Question from Ian, again, similar on Backupify. What do we recommend? Because one of the domains has got Backupify. Yeah, we'd always recommend a backup solution. Data loss does happen. Google doesn't lose data, but users do through, as again, either malicious intent or accidental loss. So we'd always recommend a backup solution in place, and Backupify is a perfectly good a backup solution. Question from Pete. New features seem to be added in the background recently. Is there a timeline somewhere for this? Yeah, interesting, Pete. It does depend on which release you are on for your product, whether you're on rapid release or scheduled release. Worth a check. You should be on scheduled release with the number of users that you've got. So rapid release means if it's released by Google, it goes straight to your domain across all your users. Rapid release means you get some notification as an admin. It ain't a lot of time in some cases, it's kind of 14 days or so, but it's worth having because it gives you that breathing space. They tend not to publish a timeline of new features, and it's something that we request on a regular basis. There are some places where you can get an indication of what's coming, perhaps without a time frame. So we've got some resources on that, Pete. I'll have a look and I'll send you something if that's all right. Question from Mark. Can I have a static meet link so I can include in standard emails? Yeah, absolutely, you can do that. So you can just go to meet.google.com, start a new meet, and you can have that running for as long as you want. You can close it down, start it again, but essentially that link remains static. So you can include it in your emails. So people can start up a meet link with you. Obviously, you've got to know that they're going into the meeting, but I'm sure you can manage that. But effectively, you can do that. That remains. I do believe there is a time limit on that, Mark. I know it's at least 12 months, but I'm not entirely sure. I'll try and take that offline and come back to you and see what the time frame is on that, if that's okay. Question from Dave. Will there be an option to split our users onto different levels, i.e. business standard or business starter? Yeah, that's the partial domain licensing, which I mentioned earlier. The terms are staying the same. You do need a reasonably high number of users. We think it starts around 350 users where you can split, and you need the majority to be on the larger and more advanced plan. So let's have a look at your details, Dave, see where you are, what you've got, and I'll try and find out, get confirmation of the terms for partial domain, and then we can see from there. Question from Ian. Is it possible to use Appsheet as a separate product i.e. as an add-on to a standard user? Yes, it is. You can subscribe to that on any plan. So you can just add it to your account. Again, Ian, I'll send you some details on that. Talal, would Overdrive work as normal with Google Workspace? Just so you know, Overdrive is our product which creates sites and portals for intranets and project workspaces, etc. Sits on top of G Suite. Works exactly the same with Workspace. Talal, there's no change at all. So your intranet will be fine. Again, the folders that you use within your intranet will just become Workspace folders, and so there's no change from an Overdrive perspective. Are there any time limitations or meet sessions with a standard Workspace product? Ian, I'm trying to rack my brains. I think there is a time limit, a maximum duration of meets. Frankly, I can't recall what that is. Again, I'll come back to you. These questions are really testing. It's really good. Final question from Jamie. Do I need Google Vault if I'm only using it to export email inboxes from Lever accounts at the moment? Just think about whether I need Business Standard or Business Plus. If I'm only using it to export email inboxes. No, I would say not, Jamie. So Google Vault traps all inbound and outbound messages, as I mentioned earlier, and all documents created. And you set the retention rate for it. So you say, I need to keep it for a year, 7 years, 10 years, or forever, whatever you want it to be. I would say if you're only using it to export email inboxes from your Lever account, then there are other ways to do that. Might be worth a conversation to do that. Vault wouldn't be the most cost-effective way to do that. It's useful for other things, and if you need to retain information, it's a great tool because it's all automated. It just makes it very easy. But there are other ways to do that. So again, drop us a line, Jamie, if you want, and we will look at some alternatives for you. We have slightly overrun, but I think we've done pretty well on time. Thank you, everybody, for your questions. What we'll do after the session is, in the next couple of hours or so, we'll send you a recording of the event, just so you can share it, review the information, etc. That will have all my contact details on. So if you've got any other questions, if there is anything else that you need, or anything else occurs to you after today, you've got our details, just come back to us and we'll happily help where we can. You know that it's a little bit of a moving target at the moment. Some of the details do need to be confirmed, and some of it is quite complicated, but things are firming up. So we'll be able to help the majority of the questions as they come through. So thanks everybody for attending. Really appreciate the time. And as I say, if you need anything, then please come back to us. Thank you.